Hi, hello everybody, and welcome back to Captain Patriotic. I hope everybody's doing well out there, especially after the new year, just in the last couple of weeks. I wanted to take this opportunity, guys, to give you an update as far as where we are with the channel and what's expected on the horizon and in the near future for my viewers. Now, to preface all of this, you guys, I'm going to be honest with you all. And I know in the past, I haven't exactly been totally transparent with things that are going on in my personal life here on the channel. And I do that for a reason. I feel like it's a very healthy boundary between my personal life and everyone else that views my content on YouTube. But anyway, with that being said, last year in 2024, if I am being completely honest with everyone here that watches my content, last year was probably one of the worst years of my life for a variety of reasons. It's not just one that makes it one of the worst years in recent memory for me. As you guys may recall, about a year and a half ago, in August of 2023, I lost perhaps one of my most favorite people on the face of this earth, my grandma Julia. And at that time, she had been suffering from pancreatic cancer, which for all of you out there that have seen family members suffer with health crises, as well as anything health related, you know the struggle is real, and it's really hard to see a family member and even a friend of yours suffer like they do. Well, to put things lightly, things went from bad to worse really quickly for her, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was very hard to see her decline so rapidly compared to the person that I was used to being around when I was a kid. She was one of my rocks, to say the least. Well, she ultimately would succumb to her illness in late August of 2023. And ever since then, myself as well as the rest of my family have been dealing with the grieving process from her passing. And for those of us, I'm sure a lot of us have gone through this before, we know how painful that can be. And it's really hard to shake that feeling from time to time. I say all that because all of last year, it was like I was doing everything I could not to really focus and think about her as much as humanly possible, because to be frank with you, the memories were so painful for me because I was so close to her. For those of people that say, oh, grief isn't that big of a deal, you just get over a loss. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I know everybody grieves differently, but it really is a unique process, and everybody else is different, and it affects people differently too. So for me, it's been a struggle. I'm a lot better now than I was back then, but I still have my moments. But that first year after she passed away, it was a big struggle. Like, what do I do now? I don't have someone I can call to and talk to all the time that I always could. So, in addition to grieving her loss and everything all of last year and dealing with the effects from that, I was also dealing with stressful situations through different aspects of my life. And between the two of them, it just really got to me. I was in a bad place last year. And frankly, the year before that, dealing with her slow decline, and some of it just really got to me. So I say all that because I really wanted to post new content to the channel this past year, but between dealing with grieving her loss and dealing with other normal stresses of everyday life, it just got to me to where I needed some time off for myself. So I wanted to thank all of my viewers and supporters for giving me my space and understanding during this hard time. Even though I really did want to be more involved on the channel and post a lot more content than I have this last year. On top of both of those factors, the last 6 months, I've just been pretty sick, like more sicker than I even imagined I could have ever been in my lifetime. Basically, it all started in August whenever I contracted COVID, which for those of us that have gone through COVID, we know that it's a big struggle to try to get over all of that and to completely get over all the symptoms and everything. But anyway, I had that for the first 2 weeks in August, and I thought that was it. Well, a few weeks after that, I contracted a stomach bug, and then after that, I ended up with a really bad head cold. It was literally like a slippery slope, you guys, because that first cold I got over, and then about 2 weeks later, I ended up with a second one. And then about 2, maybe 3 weeks later, I ended up with a third cold, which ultimately turned into double pneumonia, which for those of us that have experienced this, and I know a lot of us have, but pneumonia is really, really painful, you guys. And I might argue that it's actually worse than having COVID, because I know for me, I was coughing so much, and it was so deep in my chest to where it hurt to even lay down flat and to rest throughout the night. I do not recommend that or COVID to anybody. But then after I get over this double pneumonia around Thanksgiving, I ended up with a really bad sinus infection. So what I'm trying to say is, for the last 5 going on 6 months, I've had illness after illness after illness, and I frankly just haven't felt like posting content as frequently as I would like to, and I do apologize for that. It's been really rough this fall, you guys. It really has been. But having said all of this, I am very happy to announce that things are going to change for the better in 2025. I have a lot of plans for future videos down the road, and as I was recovering from all those illnesses, I got to thinking, well, maybe it's time to expand the channel a little bit. And for those of us that know me personally and on here, you know I'm a very big military history guru, and I absolutely love it. It's very fascinating. Having heard a bunch of military stories from my family, I have a lot of respect for the military. But with this being a new year, I want to expand the channel in that not only do I want to start covering U.S. military history, but I want to also cover different aspects of U.S. history in general, because I know there's a lot of things even here in the United States that are worth talking about. So from here on out, if anybody has any ideas for future content, whether it's normal U.S. history or anything related to our U.S. military history, please leave a comment down below and tell me what you would like me to cover next, because I could go many different directions with this. You know, history's always been complex. I mean, any support and any ideas will be very much appreciated, you guys. Thank you. With that being said, though, in honor of having a new president in office, or I should say a new old president returning to the White House, I have a couple of videos lined up that are related to our U.S. presidents and other history of our great leaders of this nation. In addition to that, another personal topic I want to address in the next few months is the Vietnam War. As you guys may recall, 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the end of one of the most costly and longest wars in American history. In fact, the final U.S. troops left Vietnam, and it officially ended on April 30th, 1975, about 50 years ago. So I personally want to talk about Vietnam because I feel like even though that conflict was famous for all the wrong reasons, and might I say, very unpopular with Americans, to say the very least, nonetheless, it had a very big impact on American and as well as general history, to say the least. Even though it was an infamous war that America basically protested for most of its life, it's still a very popular conflict in the media, like in video games, in movies, TV. Heck, there's a lot of things that came out of Vietnam, and I think it is very well safe to say that Vietnam is, as far as American cinema goes, it's honestly one of the most documented and produced topic of American movies as far as war movies go. I know that's saying something, but it's obviously not as popular as, say, World War II movies and video games and what have you, but it's pretty high up there with World War I, World War II, and to a lesser extent, the American Civil War. It's very popular in media and culture even to this day, even though that was over 50 years ago now. So I want to take the time to highlight not only the most decorated veterans of that particular conflict, like I have the previous wars, like World War I, World War II, and Korea, but I also want to highlight other aspects of the conflict, as well as highlight more personal war stories from the people that actually served over there. Because I think even though people just saw what was on the news covering Vietnam, I think a lot of general Americans, obviously not military that were over there, they may have not been quite as keen on knowing the different aspects of Vietnam. So that's why I want to take a deep dive into it. And I want to talk about other things too, like popular Vietnam War movies and directors, as well as other notable figures that are Vietnam veterans, and highlight their personal stories of bravery to give a proper send-up to all of our Vietnam vets, to say the least. So anyway, you guys, that is what I have planned for the immediate future of 2025. If you guys have any ideas as far as historical American topics that you would like me to cover on this channel, please comment down below, but be appropriate and be polite down there, mind you. This is not a political channel by any means, and I never intend it to be. But I am willing to cover just about any topic in American history that you guys are willing to talk about. I'm an open book as far as that is concerned. But certainly stay tuned. I have a bunch of ideas up here. I'm just trying to figure out how to organize them and get them out to you guys, as well as content that you guys will love and want to continue watching. As always, everybody, please support the channel, and thank you guys for those that already do that. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future content. I really appreciate it, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day.